Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a very special edition of Live to Be Well with Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin, Hope and Healing. I am your host for the evening, Micha ML6 Logan. We are going to have a very open, candid conversation about certain areas and things dealing with how to get through COVID-19, how currently you're getting through, and possible avenues to take after this quote unquote clears up. We're going to be talking very openly. If you are a frequent watcher of Live to Be Well, you know that Dr. Kim does not hold anything back. So without further ado, let's get everything started and bring Dr. Kim on. Live to Be Well, Hope and Healing.
Which way is up? Something is down. Something that love cannot be found. Don't let life's problems keep you grounded. Keep your faith up. You're strong and you know it. Oh, so just smile and live like you own it. Go on, live it, live it, live it. You got this, come on and laugh. Live to be well. Live to be well with Dr. Kim, with Dr. Kim. Live to be well. Live to be well with Dr. Kim.
Good evening, Dr. Kim.
Good evening, Micha ML6. God bless you, and thank you so much for hosting all our upcoming symposiums and our open dialogue with COVID-19.
Oh, it's no problem at all. Let's get right into it. Live to Be Well, Hope and Healing, COVID-19. As we know, this pandemic hit us like a ton of bricks at the beginning of March, middle of March, as we were entering into the middle of March. And here we are, months later. States are opening back up slowly, some states. Other states are still on complete lockdown. Today, the news hit that Los Angeles is going to be on stay-at-home orders until July. However, they're opening the beaches with certain restrictions because, people have to surf. A lot of people have lost their job. They are trying to figure out how to transition with homeschooling with their children. For some, this is the most time that parents have spent with their young children. In their mind, they think, okay, I have summer break. So they're conditioned for summer break only. But there was a break in that with the pandemic. The children had to be home. A lot of people have lost loved ones, unfortunately. And with that, there haven't been areas and avenues for people to gather for regular funerals to say their final goodbyes.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of after COVID-19 trauma. So here we are, hope and healing, dealing with the after effects, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder after this pandemic. What can you advise? Just a few tools, a few just bullet points for people to have for after this ends, quote unquote.
Yes. This is an excellent question. I think one of the most important things that individuals can do, Micha, is that they need to familiarize themselves. What is post-traumatic stress disorder? It is a mental illness and comes out of an experience, a traumatic experience, or a trauma. And some of the things we can do is we need to become abreast, become aware. You need to open yourself up to the person with post-traumatic stress disorder. You don't have to walk around like on eggshells, but you do need to know what you're dealing with. So I definitely recommend that you get outside support, counseling, mental health counseling, as you gain more knowledge and information. Information is powerful. And so the more information you have, the more equipped you are in dealing with this particular disorder. I remember Daddy having post-traumatic stress disorder coming back from Vietnam. And I didn't know until after I was married to him what I was dealing with, because, remember, we could walk into the room and Daddy would wake up as if he was holding a rifle,
Mhm.
and we didn't understand what was going on at the time. And the more and more I lived with Daddy, and the more I was able, even as a mental health professional, I opened my eyes to what was going on. I did more research, more reading, because that was not my population that I was dealing with at the
Right.
time. And so therefore, as I gained more information, I was able to listen. One of the most important things you can do is listen.
Right.
You can be informed. You can make sure that you allow the person to take the lead. And and by their cues, you will know what to do and what not to do. And that's very important. So when Daddy would wake up, I would have to just calm him. I remember one time I got punched in the face, and I woke up, my face was all bruised. And he said, "I'm so sorry," but I had to learn not to be so abrupt when I woke up in the middle of the night. So these are some of the things I had to take the cues and learn, listen. I had to communicate about it. We talked about it. It is not a disease. It's not going to, take over your body and you're going to be consumed. It is something that you can live with, because Micha, you and I, we lived with it. Aaron, we lived with Daddy having post-traumatic stress disorder. But dealing with this COVID-19, it is still a trauma. It is still a major concern, because the afterglow is going to be long-term, Micha. It's not going to be something that's just going to pass and be over with.
Right.
It's going to be going on. And I'm dealing with it every day in my practice, every day.
Well, you answered a lot in that one question, which I totally love. You answered how to help. You answered what are some signs. But one thing I want to know is a lot of people are showing a lot of support for healthcare workers, frontline workers, and they already deal with their fair share of post-traumatic stress in their everyday life. But with this pandemic, it's a little different, I like to think. So for family members of frontline workers and healthcare workers, what is some advice that you can give them to be sensitive and more alert and aware of what their loved ones who have to deal with this day in and day out? What are some tips that you can give to family members and friends that are closely related to healthcare workers and frontline workers and dealing with their family members with post-traumatic stress disorder?
That's an excellent question. When your loved one gets off work, don't bombard them. Let them have an opportunity to unwind, rest, make sure things are in order. If you are in the household with someone, do their grocery shopping for them. Make sure dinner is cooked. Make sure the house is quiet, because they need to relax. They need to be able to rest. They need to be able to sleep so that they can go back on the front line. It's very important that we are, you said the key word, sensitive to what their needs are, their basic needs. When someone gets home, run a warm bath water, put some candles out for them. Make sure that there's some nice music on, soothing music on, so that they can just take a moment to exhale and put their feet up and be able to relax. Give them a foot massage, give them a pedicure, and massage their hands. Massage is excellent therapy. Give them a total body massage. And if you do live alone and you're on the front line, still, get in your shower, allow the warmth of your water to soothe you, eat a healthy meal, cut your cell phone off. Or unless it's an emergency from the hospital, and just ask your loved ones and family members, listen, I'm okay, but I've got to shut it down because I need to get some rest. So some simple tips is to be able to self-care. Self-care is crucial now, Micha, for those on the front line. You tell me all the time, I may not be at a hospital, but I'm here dealing with people every day. A week ago, we lost an emergency physician in New York. She committed suicide. She had the COVID-19, went back to work, and it was so overwhelming. I don't have all the details, but she took her own life. So this is very serious because now it's coming into play where there are those on the front line who are saying, I can't deal with this anymore. I can't, it's too overwhelming. So they need to get enough rest. We need enough people working enough shifts so that people can get the proper rest they need. Balanced meal. They need to do some self-care, self-time, self nurturing yourself so that you can go back on the front line. And of course, we need to keep praying for those who are out there on the front line.
I also believe that it's important to take into consideration giving people their space and their
Yes.
time to
Yes.
decompose and process.
Yes.
So for family members who have a father or a mother who have come home from a 12-hour shift,
Yes.
they may not want to talk. They may
That's
not
right.
want to be touched. They may want to take their clothes off at the door, run straight to the shower, go
Yes.
to a room, and just cry.
Yes.
They may
Yes.
want to go outside and just yell.
Yes.
And if you are a spouse, a child, I believe it's very important to understand the mood and the energy of the vibe of the person that is your family member that has to deal with this every day. Because they may not want the massage. They may not want the pedicure. They may not want to eat necessarily at a specific time. But you have to give them and allow them the space.
That's right.
And the consideration and that comes with giving them that moment to just breathe.
Right. You know, it's a good point. I had a session with a couple yesterday, and the wife is a nurse, and all she wanted to do was just come home and have her space. Everybody in the household thought she was angry.
No.
She says, I'm not angry. I just don't want to eat right now. I don't want anything. I just want to close the doors, close the blinds, and just sleep for a minute.
You
Just
gotta think. They're around people all day long. They're doing
yes.
this stuff, boom, 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 boom. And home is supposed to be a very peaceful, tranquil place. If you're not at peace at home, you don't need to be there.
That's right.
And so I feel like there has to be a strong just understanding and the consideration of where people are.
That's right. Key words: consideration, sensitivity,
Yes.
and being aware. Key words.
Awesome. All right. So, and we talked about supporting loved ones in this situation. Now, the trust factor as it pertains to hope and healing through COVID-19. People might say, well, Dr. Kim, what do you mean? How do I trust? What are you talking about? Well, here's the thing. We're hearing so many different stories every single day, from the top to the bottom.
Yes.
There's a sense of the top doesn't want to take responsibility, so he's putting it on the governors so that if it goes right, congratulations. If it goes wrong, I didn't have anything to do with that because it was on the governor. Right. So there's a lot of lack of trust for people in terms of, do I wear a mask? Do I not? Do I wear gloves? Do I not? Do I go get the facial? Do I go get the nails done? Do I go to Marshall's and Home Goods? How do I, do I just stay at home and don't touch anybody, don't see anybody? Do I wipe down on my groceries? Do I not wipe down on my groceries? There's just so many different stories and inconsistencies, and that can create a level of anxiety.
Yes.
So how do you best prescribe getting through this lack of trust that can lead to horrible anxiety?
The one thing that I do, and as a professional, I'm listening to the doctors. I'm listening to what the doctors are saying. I am not becoming laxed. I am not becoming comfortable. I thank God for our governor here in Michigan, who is still putting the order in until May 28th, and it may go beyond, as you stated, in Los Angeles, California, to July. But I think it's important that we listen to those who are doing the actual work on the front line, what they see, what is going on in the hospitals, are the numbers. We are over 7 million and count worldwide, 7,200,000 deaths worldwide. And still, even within 7 million, you look at 7,200,000. Okay, that's not a lot of people dying. It is still a lot of people. I believe that we need to take, this is who I trust. I'm trusting those who are on the front line. What you are seeing, I am wearing my mask. They're telling you, keep your mask on, keep your gloves on, take your clothes off at the door, wash them, and make sure you're not walking to and fro in your shoes in your household. I believe that we should, if it's airborne, I'm not taking any chances. So who do I trust? I trust Dr. Fauci. He came on today and he said, do not become comfortable with this. These numbers are up. This is not over. We need not be ready to open our cities back up because we're going to see such a large amount of numbers that is going to just literally blow our minds.
Right.
So that's who I am trusting, those at the CDC, those who are on the front line. And I'm trusting, and I thank God again for my governor who is saying she is listening to Dr. Fauci and saying, do not open the city back up.
And you said something that was very, very important in terms of just not being comfortable. I say this every day on my radio show. Like, just because these states are opening up does not mean that the virus is going away.
That's right.
What it means is that they just want the economy to get back to some type of balance, and they're going to risk the lives of people in order to do that. So it's your responsibility as an individual to protect yourself and protect your family.
That's
right. So you have to act as if this is March 20th when everything first broke, so to speak. You have to act as if not more. Stay clean. Right. Make sure I don't understand why people aren't washing their hands anyways, but that's neither here nor there. But
because, I always raised, in our home, we cleaned, we used bleach, we did Clorox, we washed dishes in bleach, we clean. You know how I am OCD.
Right.
And I am very, very clean and about everything that I do. And so I don't know what people were doing prior to this, pandemic. I mean, what were you doing? Right. So like I said, that's a whole nother show. It's not even worth talking about. Let's move into things that where we are today. Okay. And hopefully people today will take a conscious look at their lives and say, wow, I need to put these things in place in my household. Okay.
In your time, in your city or state. All right. So finding light in this darkness. A lot of people are trying to figure out, there are no concerts. It's summertime. The sun is coming out. People want to go out. Young people want to go kick it. To outdoor concerts, picnics, things of that nature. How can people find light in the midst of this social distancing darkness and this cloud of death? Because the numbers are, in fact, increasing every single day. Don't believe that the numbers are, stable and at a standstill and disappearing. No, people are still getting sick and people are still dying. And that brings a gloom.
Mm-hmm.
Advice to finding light in this here darkness.
Okay. One of the things I want to talk about is that there is hope and healing. One of the things that you hear about with hope and healing is faith. Being a mental health specialist and being a counselor and being a psychotherapist, every day it is my responsibility to bring hope and healing to people's lives. I start with 8 o'clock in the morning, sometimes to 10, 11 o'clock at night, and dealing with people who are having trials and tribulations in their lives. So some of the things that people can do is you can do your own personal family collage. You can do your own family picnic. You can go right outside in your own backyard and do your own family gatherings. If you live within if 4 or 5 of you within the household, or if you have just you and your spouse. This is a time now for you to take a good look at your children to say, wow, I didn't know this about you. You really play that instrument well. You really can draw. I mean, I have learned so much about you and Aaron, your gifts and talents, what you do, because I'm always so busy. I'm always on the move. And I was like, I've got to get Micha to do this. I never had a moment to sit down to really take note of all the things that my babies can do. And then Aaron, I was like, you can do this. You can do,
Right.
and testify. I pay you all for your services too, because
Yeah.
these are your businesses. So I have learned a lot about my own family, my own children, being creative, doing things, exercise, cooking together, I've been making treasure bags and doing collages and doing vision boards. I've been making my own personal vision boards, things where I want to see what's my new norm. Also, cooking together, baking together, coming up with new ideas within your own family structure, singing together, praying together, ministering together. This is a great time to rediscover God in your household. And I cannot reiterate that enough. And it's a great time to rediscover the word of God within your family. Excellent tool to use every day. And also other inspirational books by Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin and Arthur Nowlin. Other great books, Toni Morrison, W. Du Bois, The Native Son. I've been reading books every day, Micha, and I've been making sure that I gain more and more knowledge about who I am.
That's awesome. So what about people who don't have families? They're single, or, granted, we're able to use technology to stay on, FaceTime and things of this, like StreamYard, Facebook Live, things of that nature. But what about people who aren't really technical, they're not savvy, or they don't have family, or they don't have connection with their family, and they're really just at home and they have no real outlet but to really just open a window?
Yes.
What can you say to that person who's just like, yo, I legit have been stuck in the house. I may go to the grocery store, or I may get my groceries delivered, but I have such fear that I'm not leaving the house. And there's only so much Netflix a person can watch. There's only so much somebody can do, but they may not have that. Somebody who's used to physical touch, being around people, but they're not getting that physical touch because it's just them. And because they live alone, they banked on going to church, going to events, meeting people, mingling, and they can't do that anymore. And it's really bugging them out, so to speak,
right,
in terms of how to deal with. And they're just in a really dark place.
Yes.
What can you say to that single man or that single woman?
Let me say this, and I can talk about this personally, even though I have technology, I have the girls, but what I need to say is we need to reach out to those individuals that we know in your family, from your church community, your neighborhood. Just reach out, call them. I'm the Block Club president, and I've been checking on different people. Do you need something? I found out that people didn't have masks or gloves. I took some crossword puzzles. I dropped off some different things, some games, Scrabble and Monopoly. And one lady, she said, I love dominoes, grandma, dominoes. All right. So I left them right on the door for this lady. And she was like, thank you. We have to find a way to extend ourselves, even with those who are in darkness and afraid to come out into the light. So these are some of the things that I've been doing. I've been calling people. I've been sending cards out to people. We've gotten away from mailing cards out, and I've been doing that. I've been making sure that I leave little bags on the door. When I got home today, there was a bag on my porch. And I was like, someone said, thinking of you today, Dr. Kim. So these are some of the things you can do, but we need to make sure that these individuals are all right, because we do not want them to slip into that darkness, into suicide, because there's a thin line with that sadness and depression that can take you all the way over. No, I'm okay. It's okay. I'm sad today. I can't make it today. I'm depressed and I'm out of here. So we've got to watch the signs, and we've got to reach out and talk to those. Having a pet, I know you love your dogs and everything. I think having a pet has been a great support to people. I think being able to utilize your gifts. Another thing people can do is get in there and clean out those closets and get ready to move things out. Yes, yes. Move things out, okay, that you're not wearing anymore, what you're not doing anymore. Utilize, go down that basement, clean out your basement, those storage units upstairs, and wherever you are in your apartment, your townhome, get things cleaned out so that you can get that stuff out on bulk day and let it bless somebody else. So these are the things I think have been very helpful. And reading is very helpful because, Mike, is only so much that anybody can take of the news, all right? And I know you report the news, you give the news, you're in it. But sometimes we need to set some boundaries. And I think that's very important for those who live alone in this darkness. They've got to set some real boundaries so that they do make some check off lists. Make an inventory every day of things you would like to do. Daddy was big for that. What's going to be on my list today so that I know that I've got something to look forward to? See, hope means I am aspiring. I've got something. I'm anticipating something, Micah, and hope, healing work hand in hand. Because if I didn't have the hope, a lot of people would die.
Right.
A lot of people can make it. They've made it through COVID-19. Many did not. But with the hope that we can still give to people, we can help people live and transition. Because it's not just about go back to work. It's been 2 months almost. It's about how do I transition? And we need to talk about this, not just being in COVID-19, but transitioning through it with hope and healing.
That's awesome. I think that it's interesting because you said, there's only so much news a person can take. And this is something I do in my everyday before COVID, even with me working in media. There are just times and moments where you just have to shut off the alerts, program yourself to not look at the news, get off social media, and to detox. I believe that detoxing from media is very, very important, COVID or not, because it can be extremely overwhelming. It can be extremely depressing on the wrong day and on the right day. Because from that, you're looking at people, some people are seeing people, they're at home and they're struggling and they can barely get out of bed. And then you turn on social media and it's like people are acting like, nothing's changed. Life is great. It's okay. And you're looking at yourself like, well, what am I missing? Like, I can't go outside. I can't do this. I can't do that. But yet this person is thriving, which is fine. But they don't know what's on the other side of that thrive. Many people forget, I can show you whatever I want to show you via social media. Once the lights, cameras go off, it can be completely different. But when I'm on. Social media provides you with the opportunity to show people what you want to show them. But the person who doesn't understand that, who's looking at social media like everything that they're seeing is 100% honest, this, that, and the third. No, sweetie, it's not necessarily. Now, for some, it can be. I feel like right now, after this pandemic, it's really going to show us, especially with celebrities, who really has it and who doesn't.
Right.
Because this is going to change a lot of careers going forward. This is going to really show us, it will either make or break them. Like how they are, showing themselves. Are they showing themselves in a good light, a bad light, an honest light, a dishonest light, all of that. But for people who tune in, who may not be mentally capable, so to speak, I'm looking at they're looking at their favorite celebrity and they're like, well, they're not missing any beats. Or they're looking at the girl around the corner whose eyebrows are still done and they're looking at her nails like, oh, her nails are done. Sweetie, press-ons. Okay. press-ons. I'm going to get press-on. They just look really good. They've changed the game. You know what I'm saying? But for people who don't know that, they're like, eyebrows done. Sweetie, I got, stuff done but prior to. Like, they don't know. So for that person who, as someone said in the comments, they are emotionally, bankrupt of the reality of life. And they don't understand what's behind the camera when it goes dark. I feel that people have to take time away.
Oh, definitely.
From certain things to get back and just kind of like zone in and zone out and figure out who they are. I believe, and you can chime in on this, I believe that this COVID-19 is allowing people to really see who they really are. Oftentimes for single people, they say, well, you can't expect anybody to be with you if you don't like yourself. Do you not spend time with yourself? And oftentimes people don't because they don't like themselves. But this situation is giving a lot of people a lot of time, forcing them, if they really about it, to look at themselves, to self-love and self-heal. And I believe these are the flip effects, the positive effects that can be from COVID-19. Check me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that this is allowing people to really become one with themselves.
Yes.
Who am I? What do I want to be? Did this happen at a right time when I'm trying to transition job? I couldn't leave my job. So there's somebody out there who feels like I couldn't leave my job. There was nothing I couldn't do it. Right. And COVID-19 may have provided a way for them to not have their job anymore. I believe perspective within this pandemic is very important. Chime in how you feel.
I agree with the fact about detox. This has been an opportunity for all of us to pull back and to pull back the curtains to say, this is who I really am. This is my new norm right now. I think it's important that we look at how honest we can be with ourselves because, behind closed doors, I was watching a commercial and I saw all the different celebrities with no makeup, no bright lights. They're sitting in their kitchens, they're sitting in their, different rooms in the house. Like, hey, some of them were just sitting in their bedrooms. Hey, listen, we want to say to those in the front line, thank you. Thank you. They were just normal. I'm normal. I'm going through this with you. What you see on television with the bright lights and all that is not for real. This is my real life. I'm dealing with this right along with you. So we all need to detox because even they have said to themselves, I got to detox. I got to pull back. I've got to look at the situation. Yeah. And another thing that you stated was a lot of people do not like themselves. A lot of people are not happy in their lives, in their positions, their jobs. They're not happy in their own churches. They're not happy with God. They're not happy. So this gave you opportunity because people would say to me, Dr. Logan, I hate my job. I want to leave my job. I don't want to go to work. Well, now you don't have a job. It made you really say to yourself, be careful what you ask for because I was blessed to have something. Right. And now I'm looking at a situation where I may not have anything.
But there could be people who, even in that situation, that could say, I'm good. Even though they may not be, because they have they're free from the confines of the job that was holding them hostage.
Well, a lot of people too, you still have to have a plan where you're going to go. Even if you have financial means in place, you still got to put a plan in place. Do you know when people have nothing to do in their lives, they die sooner because they don't have a purpose. So they feel useless, helpless, and hopeless.
That's true.
When you are being utilized on a regular basis, it gives you hope. You're able to position yourself in a better light. You feel good about yourself because you're helping others. So yes, it gave you opportunity to say, I'm going to pull back. I'm able to release myself from the stress and anxiety. I'm good. I'll take another few months and I will find something else for me to look at for my life. You're correct. But we also have to look at the reality when we come out of this, as you stated, that we are going to be dealing with a lot of new normalities. We're going to be looking at people differently, the way we hug people, the way we embrace people. I had a client yesterday and said they never even closed their church. They're still hugging. Pastor's still preaching. They go every week. They don't close their church. And so I said, okay,
that's not wisdom.
that was not wisdom, but I just listened. I listened, you know, and I said to myself that they're going to have some numbers come out of that, but that's not for me to say at this time. We need to use wisdom. We need to understand that when the doors open back and we're back into those places, will I go to a restaurant? I don't know. Will I go to a concert? I don't know. Will I go back into church or will I stay watching online? I don't know. I've got to really look at all the dynamics that are a part of what has happened so that I don't put myself at risk. I sent you a text the other day and we were dialoguing, and the last thing I said was, I have children. And you said, exactly. And I do not want to put myself at risk where my children will have to come and have to take care of me because I did not use wisdom, you know. So I'm still looking at what is this going to look like when we come out of it? We don't know. We're taking it one day at a time, but we still, did I go out today? Yes. Did I use my mask today? Yes. Did I have on a double mask? Yes. Did I have my gloves? Yes. Did I do everything I was supposed to do? You know, but I'm going to continue to use those same precautions because I cannot afford to get comfortable. And I saw something today, Micha, on Mother's Day in Colorado. I don't know if you saw this report. They opened this restaurant for a Mother's Day brunch. The people were in there. It was packed out. Micha, no mask. People were gathering, waiting for takeout, communicating, talking, and no, and it was just it was just unbelievable. People are feeling like, you know, I've been cooped up now. It's getting warm, as you stated. I'm getting out of here. I don't care at what risk. They don't realize they're putting not only themselves at risk, but you're putting others at risk.
I can say this for sure. Going forward, be it 2020, 2021, things will never be the same.
No.
Things will never be the same.
Never.
The mega outdoor concerts, the mega conferences, those things are going to be taken into heavy consideration to scale back. Things will never be the same for various reasons, whether it be companies are feeling like, you know, we want to make sure that our people are safe no matter what. So we'll stay doing to-go and curbside service for here until there. Whether it be because people feel like, I'm not going to put myself at risk. And if I got to do all of this extra stuff just to go get something to eat, I'm good. I believe that there's going to be a lot of change and transition moving forward. Even once they get a quote unquote, if they decide to get a vaccine or however they're going to find a way to control it. But what happens is you get large groups of people who never really followed the guidelines to begin with.
Right.
Who felt like it was a hoax because at the top, you got to remember at the top, it was said that it was a hoax. So then it was, well, what's the difference between this and a regular flu? There's a lot of difference. So you have people who felt like, I'm good regardless. So I can guarantee you that those people that were in Colorado or the people that are protesting at, capitals from Florida to Cali to Michigan, I can guarantee a lot of those people never felt like this was a thing anyways. And they felt like getting their hair cut, getting their dye job to their hair was more important than people protecting themselves and dying. And that's unfortunate. And it makes people who take it serious, it makes them, again, going back to that level of who can I trust, that level of anxiety, and those levels of being in dark places.
Yes.
Because you have people who are really out here living all willy-nilly, like it's not important.
Yeah.
when in fact it is.
I went to
This
the.
is,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead.
I
No, no,
went.
go.
I went to the park about 3 weeks ago, or yeah, and I left my office and I said I'm just going to take a drive, but I was protected.
Mhm.
And I went out to Belle Isle and I saw people flying kites. They were out there rollerblading, skating, having picnics, sitting down at the table, not sanitizing anything.
Mhm.
If I saw 3 people with masks on, I saw people with their convertible tops down, no mask. And I back in my car so quickly. And I was out there earlier enough, but by the time I got ready to leave, it was unbelievable. I was just it was unbelievable, Micah. People are
It's just a
thinking
level of
that this,
disrespect.
they have no respect for life. And that until it hits you in your own back door, that this thing is real. So the bottom line is we have to take every precaution and not allow ourselves to become lax, become comfortable, and look at the red flags. There are too many red flags for us
Mhm.
to not ignore. We must not ignore the red flags. And so therefore, putting things in place, making sure that you have everything you can do to protect yourself. I had a woman that called me last week, Dr. Logan, I just don't feel it's going to be safe for me to go back to work. I've been quarantined. I live alone. I'm not allowed anyone in my home. I go out to the grocery store. I do what I have to do and come back. I strip myself down, get in the shower. So how are they going to protect me as I go back to work? And her anxiety went right through the roof.
Yeah.
And I had to get her to the point where that anxiety and that stress. And I said, the only thing I can do for you right now, because your anxiety is so high, I had to take her off work for 3 more weeks. I took her off work to June because she's not ready to go back into the environment of her job, because all they're doing is giving masks, sanitizing their sections down, and that's it.
But you can't
So
control what people do when they're away and in different environments. And
that's right.
you can say to yourself, I'm going to do everything that I need to do to make sure that I'm well from the inside out. And by the inside out, I'm not just talking about making sure you're taking your herbs, your vitamins, your probiotics, drinking plenty of water, eating healthy. I'm talking about being well emotionally and mentally.
Yes, yes.
Because
The mental, the,
the total disregard
yes,
for other people, because you can't, the thing is, people are used to doing, in America, we're really used to doing whatever we want to do.
oh yes,
Because, and because we've been told we can't, we're like, wait, you trying to tell us we can't do it? This is supposed to be the land of the free and the home of the brave. It's not.
right.
It's not. Let's be honest, it's not. So people are like, you're not about to tell me what I can and can't do. Like, okay, I gave you 2 weeks. I gave you 3 weeks. The fourth week, oh, I'm gonna go. I'm going to fly my kites I'm going to sit out. I'm not going to social distance. I'm going to do whatever I want. And those people, as it was stated in the comments, they don't believe a dog bites until they're bitten.
Until
And so
they're
they're
big.
not believing that this thing is real, like you stated, until it hits their families. But it
That's right.
should not take all of that. But because a large majority of the American people are hard-headed,
Mm-hmm.
because they feel like we're supposed to be free, we're not supposed to be confined, we're going to do whatever we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Here's why the numbers are still increasing. And
Yes, indeed.
here's why Live to Be Well, I believe, is such an important tool, because it allows people the space and the opportunity to just hear and get counsel, whereas they may not be able to get to their doctor, or they may not be able to get to somebody that can, that's taking new patients and this, that, and the third, where they can come on and sign up for Live to Be Well and hear tools and hear encouragement
That's
of
right.
hope and healing to
That's right.
get them into the next phase of this summer. It is going to be a very long summer. And
Yes, it is.
not because of anything more than people are going to literally be confined. there's going to be restrictions throughout America through September. Let's just say through September.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Easy.
So that
Easy.
means that summer is basically for the most part canceled.
That's
So
right.
for people who had vacations planned, who
Oh,
had
yes.
cruises planned, trips,
Yeah.
flights, all of those things, this is why we're here today. This is why Dr. Kim is here today, to help you have hope and healing
Yes.
through the rest of this pandemic.
That's right.
So
But
Dr.
we have to follow the timeline,
We
Mike. You
have to
said
follow the timeline. So Dr. Kim,
yes.
my question for you is, you deal with a lot of people on a daily basis. You're hearing all types of stories from the highest to the lowest.
Mhm.
What has been, with of course within keeping the confines of patient doctor confidentiality, of course, but
Mhm.
what have you heard the most? What has been the most consistent battle with the clients that you have talked to throughout this pandemic?
It's been two. Number one, domestic violence.
Hmm.
Domestic violence is on the rise because now we are confined in this household where we used to be able to go to our separate entities, our separate jobs, but now we are in the same home and I'm living with you, I'm dealing with you, I'm arguing with you, and now it's becoming worse than before. So domestic violence on the rise. Also, the fact that children who were going to school were getting 3 meals a day. School was a great outlet for them. They loved going to school because there was violence, molestation, there was problems in their household.
Mhm.
So now these things are more identified within the household. The other aspect that I hear a lot of is the fact that the anxiety and the stress of social distancing. People are not following the rules of order. And
Mhm.
so therefore you're putting me at risk. I went out today. There were people walking down the street, no mask, watching their cell phones, looking at them. People, coming into the store. They have a sign up at this particular store where I went to. You must have a mask on in order to enter. I was like, bravo. Thank you. Thank you. You cannot enter the store. And I went to go get my flowers, but they said in order to enter into the flower nursery, flowers, you must have a mask on. But yet I can go to the grocery store and you're just now seeing the impact of this, but people are coming into grocery stores with no mask on. Flower nursery, grocery store, flower nursery, CVS, flower nursery, Rite Aids. You know, help me understand the importance of how we are surviving here. So
Mhm.
what I'm hearing most of all is that Dr. Logan, the fear and the anxiety that I'm experiencing, that I don't have anyone to take care of my children. That is
Mhm.
huge right now because these individuals had the schools. They had summer vacation, as you stated earlier. I could prepare for some vacation. Daycares are closed.
Mhm.
Nurseries are closed.
Mhm.
You can't leave your child at someone's home or a private babysitter. So
Mhm.
now I am the teacher, I am the mother, I'm the father, I'm everything now. So we're dealing with how do we manage all of this now, Dr. Kim, and just day in and day out. I had a woman who told me last week, I'm going to get my hair done. And I just said to her,
Where's she
I'm
going?
counseling you not to do this.
But where's she going?
You're right. They opened up the hair salon in
I
Mississippi.
know,
They
but I'm
opened
saying,
up.
but what was she going to get her hair done for? Like, where's she going?
Where are you going? Where are you going? If you go to a doctor appointment or whatever, but where are you going? So I just encouraged her not to do this. Please don't do this. See, Micah, I give a cry out to my patients
Mhm.
and I say to them, please listen to me.
Mhm.
I need you to understand. The Bible says if you lack wisdom, ask of God. If
Mhm.
you don't understand what's going on, get information,
Mhm.
read, I'll help you, but don't put yourself in harm's way. Don't allow yourself to be put into a situation where you're going to impact yourself, infect yourself, and then infect others. This disease, this pestilence is spreading. We had 74 deaths in Michigan last week, Monday. This was Sunday, Monday. So the numbers may be low, but people are still dying. So we need to recognize that the stress, anxiety, domestic violence, child care, and social distancing, these are the things that I'm hearing every day. And the fact that my finances, I can't make it anymore, Doctor. I don't have any money. What am I going to do, Dr. Kim? Or my unemployment didn't get released, Dr. Kim. I got a call from a lady, and I was getting ready to do her session. And I asked her what was wrong. I knew right away something was wrong. And she said, I have no food. My light bill is due, gas bill, water bill. I have no money. They have not released my unemployment. And that was back in March. And I told her, I said, what do you need? Because when we talk about basic needs, whatever we can give to help someone, it may not be financial, but a bag of groceries, share some potatoes, do what we can. And so I was able to assist her. Do you know, Micha, she just got her money released Friday, 2 months later.
Crazy.
And so she said, Dr. Logan, I have your money. I want to return it to you. And I said, I'll catch up with you, And so now it's time for her to go back to work. And it's like, what would she have done? And I heard the pain. So let me say this to everyone that's viewing. Reach out. Check on your family members. Watch the cues within your household. Make sure you watch out for the red flags. Know the symptoms of depression, anxiety, and stress. If someone is isolating themselves, crying spells, mood swings, loss of appetite, lack of hygiene, won't take a shower, refuses to change clothes, don't want to get out of bed. These are things you need to be aware of. I can't fool Micha. Micha will know in a minute. Hi, mommy. Hi. Mommy, I need you to take a moment. My daughter ordered me last week to take a mental health day for myself. She did. And I did it. And I went to the nursery, got flowers, came back, and I started cleaning. I cleaned for 8 hours. It was beautiful out in my yard. She knows I love gardening. And I had a great meal, and I relaxed on the couch. She called me. She said, what are you doing? I said, nothing. She said, good, mommy. Bye. And so she said, I need you to incorporate a mental health day every week. And I had started that, but things got so busy for Dr. Kim, working and working and working and going to bed, waking up, doing 16 hours, staying up to 4 o'clock in the morning, doing paperwork and sending out faxes and doing things for people so they don't lose their jobs, so they can get their unemployment. But I was slowly sinking. And it's important that we as mental health professionals, that we take time to get replenished, to get rebooted and detox. We have to do that. So those are some of the things too, Micha, that came out of this as I'm transitioning for hope and healing.
Awesome. It's very important to everyone that is on the live and who will tune in later for the rebroadcast to really understand the importance of, even through this, you have to do things to make sure you're well within.
Micha, can I also say this about the clergy? Pastors, you too need to have time to detox. You need time to look at what you're doing for yourselves, your families. Pull back and take that quiet time for yourselves.
This is the opportunity for people who work with groups to really see who's on their team, to really see who can be effective when someone can't be, and everything still moves the way it's supposed to move.
Yes.
Especially for our brothers and sisters that are in ministry. This is the opportunity for them, because right now, churches as we know it, church as we know, is different.
It's
Yes,
different.
they're slowly but surely opening up. Like here in Alabama, at the beginning, at April 28th is when we had our first phase, to open. And I remember my pastor saying, yeah, I don't care what they're doing. We're not going back into a building until June and maybe later, depending upon what the Lord says. And I remember being so extremely happy about that because, listen, the people of God, I, yes, we are covered in the blood. But faith and wisdom go hand in hand.
Yes, it does.
You have one without the other. So
That's right.
saying you're covered in the blood and still acting like you don't have any wisdom, you're not being a good Christian. You're not being under the confines of what the word is saying. Let me be very clear about that.
Yes.
Faith, wisdom, being covered in the blood, wisdom, they go hand in hand. Okay?
Yes, yes. My church is
Faith
still
without
closed.
works
My
is
church.
dead. Faith without
Yes.
works is dead. The works is us staying home, being well,
Yes.
so that we can go back out and possibly, have some sense of normalcy. So that's very important that you said that about, churches and pastors being able to take time, because here's the thing, pastors are working harder, believe this or not, because they're
Yes.
having to figure out how to maintain their congregations and give weekly hope for people who are so confined to,
Yes.
I can't see God, feel God unless I'm in a church. Yes,
Right.
beyond the walls of the church, ladies and gentlemen. Okay,
Got to go beyond the wall.
it's beyond the walls. So pastors now, especially older pastors, are really trying to get into this whole technology realm, and that's stressful. So here's it: if you belong to any church, please cover your man of God, your woman of God during this time. Please don't bombard your man of God or your woman of God with like frivolous. You shouldn't have done it before, but please don't do it now, because he or she has a different burden getting their flock through this pandemic and keeping their flock and themselves afloat. Because here's the thing, we forget that our shepherds are people. We forget that. And they have families, they have fears, they're scared, all of that, just like us.
That's right.
Just like us. Yes, they have a responsibility. They have taken on a different mantle. But at the end of the day, beginning of the day, and end of the day, they are human beings. And here's the thing, everybody, no matter which tax bracket that you're in, we are all on the same playing field right now.
That's right.
We're all on the
right.
same playing field.
That's right.
Nobody is better or worse.
That's right.
Everybody is equal.
That's right. This pestilence is no respecter of person.
Not
And
one.
it's so important that we understand that, and that we must use wisdom. We must follow the order, and some churches are opening up next week, the week after. My church is closed.
Use
We've
wisdom.
been given the order, it's closed.
Use wisdom.
And you are right. Even with Live to Be Well, trying to bring hope and healing, we're doing this series now all the way until the end of the year. And I'm so happy to have my daughter, who will be my moderator for each of our broadcasts, and what we're going to be doing week to week, bringing hope and healing as we look at how we are today and what we're going to be looking like December 31st. And like you said, Micha, we are already into what we thought summer was going to look like. I had plans, they've been canceled. But you know what? My life is more important than those plans.
Exactly.
Using the wisdom, and let me say this, a lot of times I talk about being from the east side of Detroit. What that means is common sense.
Right.
My daddy used to say, "You're from the east side, baby." And I said, "What?" He said, "That means you have some common sense." Because we didn't cross Woodward. We never crossed that side. That was the west side. And I didn't know what was going on over there, but I knew what was going on the east side. Well, listen, let's use some common sense and making decisions. We need to make better decisions about our choices, about who we are going to allow in our circles, in our homes. You just can't just let your guard down. You know, I was going to bring my daughter home. And I said, you know what, Aaron, you are safer in Huntsville because the numbers here in Detroit and in Michigan are high. And I do not want you to risk on that airplane coming home and then the both of us get sick. Right. It was a hard decision, but I had to use wisdom in that call. So it's important that we cover one another. We are covered in the blood. But like you said, Mike, and I agree, we must use wisdom, common sense, and making good decisions.
Well, Dr. Kim, this has been a very enlightening, it has been a very enjoyable conversation of hope and healing. As we close, we want to let each and every one of you know that make sure that you're following Dr. Kim Logan, Dr. Kim Now on all social media platforms. We want you to stay connected to her Hope and Healing series. Ladies and gentlemen, please, please do everything that you can to not only keep others well, but keep yourself well. We're living to be well, mentally, physically, emotionally, and most importantly, spiritually. Dr. Kim, any closing words?
I just want to say again, thank you so much, Micha ML6, for being our moderator and host. And you've said it all. You can't live to be well unless you live to be well.
Live to be well with Dr. Kim, with Dr. Kim. Live to be well. Live to be well with Dr. Kim. Thank you.